Have you ever wondered how your body replaces millions of cells every day? If you've ever pondered this question, you're already thinking about the cell cycle. This cycle is a critical process that our cells undergo to grow, develop, and repair themselves. It's a series of events taking place in a cell that leads to its division and duplication, an intricate dance of life at the microscopic level. The cell cycle consists of 4 main stages. First, there's G1 or growth 1, where the cell grows and prepares for the next phase. Then we have S or synthesis, where DNA is replicated. Following this, we have G2 or growth 2, where the cell prepares for division. Finally, there's M or mitosis, where the cell divides into 2 daughter cells, each carrying identical DNA. So, the cell cycle is the cellular life's blueprint, but how exactly does it work? Let's dive deeper. To understand the cell cycle, we need to break it down into its 4 main stages. These stages are G1, S, G2, and M. Let's dive in and see what happens in each of these phases. First up is the G1 phase, also known as the first gap phase. This is where the cell gets bigger, synthesizing proteins and other molecules along the way. Picture a tiny, bustling city, where buildings are rising, roads are being paved, and all sorts of structures are being built. That's your cell in the G1 phase, growing and preparing for the journey ahead. Next, we move on to the S phase, or synthesis phase. This is where the magic really happens as the cell duplicates its DNA. Imagine the blueprints for that bustling city being carefully copied, ensuring that every detail, every building, every road is duplicated exactly. This is what's happening in the S phase. The cell is creating an exact replica of its DNA to pass on to its future offspring. Following that, we have the G2 phase, the second gap phase. Here, the cell continues to grow, but it's also preparing for the big event division. It's like the city hosting a grand parade, making sure every detail is perfect, every float is in place, and every performer knows their part. The cell is doing the same, gearing up for the final act of splitting in 2. Lastly, we have the M phase, also known as mitosis. This is where the cell takes center stage and divides into 2 daughter cells. It's like watching the city split into 2 identical, fully functioning cities, each with its own set of blueprints, its own buildings, and its own roads. The M phase is the grand finale of the cell cycle, the moment when 1 becomes 2. But wait, there's more. Throughout the cell cycle, there are checkpoints, kind of like quality control stations. These checkpoints ensure everything is going as planned. If something's amiss, maybe a building in our city is out of place or a piece of DNA hasn't been copied properly, the cell cycle pauses and the problem is fixed before moving on. These checkpoints are critical to ensuring each new cell is a perfect copy of the original, and that's how a single cell divides into 2. But let's summarize the key points to make it all stick. The cell cycle is a carefully orchestrated sequence of events where a cell grows, G1, duplicates its DNA, S, prepares for division, G2, and finally splits into 2 new cells, M. Along the way, checkpoints ensure everything is going according to plan. It's truly one of nature's most incredible performances, and it's happening inside your body right now, billions of times over. The cell cycle might seem complicated at first glance, but it's really all about growth, DNA duplication, and division. Let's revisit the 4 main stages of the cell cycle. We start with the G1 phase, where the cell grows and prepares to duplicate its DNA. Following this, we have the S phase, where the DNA is replicated, ensuring that each new cell will have a complete set of genetic material. Next comes the G2 phase, a period of rapid cell growth and protein synthesis, preparing the cell for division. Finally, we reach the M phase, where the cell divides into 2 daughter cells, each with its own nucleus and complete set of DNA. These stages are fundamental to life as we know it. They play a crucial role in replacing old or damaged cells, contributing to growth and development, and even healing wounds. So, the next time you scratch your arm or grow an inch taller, remember the amazing cell cycle that makes it all possible.